Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you about how to use text in Photoshop. So how to add text and also how to use text creatively, adding different styles and different things that you can do to text in Photoshop to make your design really stand out and look really professional yet creative. Okay, so first of all, to get to our text tool, you'll need to click on the T in the toolbar. So it's towards the bottom, and you'll want the horizontal type tool. Okay, so I'm going to click right on there, and I'm going to zoom in so that way I can kind of see where I'm going with. And to zoom in, the quick way, the way I just did it, was I hit Control plus on my keyboard. So if you hold down your Control key and press plus at the same time, it will zoom you in. And just to do the opposite, you do Control minus to zoom out. Okay, so now that I have my text tool selected, probably the most common mistake that most people do is they click and draw the box. You don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that one out. What you want to do is just single click right into your canvas, and then you'll see this blinking cursor appear, and that's where you can start texting. Or not texting, sorry, you can start typing your text. Okay, so up here is the menu for your text tool. So this first part here is the actual typeface, so the font that I want to use. So I'm going to scroll down and look for something. I'm doing the brochure cover, so I want something that's legible and clear, nothing too crazy, but definitely don't want to stick with the default. So I just saw something that I wanted to use, and I'm just going to choose that one. Now, right next to that, for the one that I chose, it doesn't have a bold, but some of them, let me see if this one does. Nope, that one doesn't either. I just so happen to be choosing this one does. Right next to this, you'll see it has different options. So for this one, it has tons. You can do a semi-bold, a bold italic, italic. So they have different style options right here next to it. I'm going to go back to the font that I chose, which I've already forgotten what that was. There it is. And then right over here to the right is the actual size that it'll be. So you can use the presets here and choose the size that you want. Or if you put your mouse right over the T, you can click and drag to the right and that'll resize it going up, or you can drag it to the left and that's going down. Okay, so there's kind of multiple ways of resizing your text. Okay, so again, now I'm going to go ahead and type what I want. So 1/50th. And notice, like right now it's going off the page for me. Don't freak out, I can move it. Actually, if I just move my cursor down, my mouse down to below the typing line, you see my tool changes from the cursor there to now it's an arrow, my move tool. Now I can click and drag it without even having to click on my move tool to move it. Okay, so I'm gonna hit enter to drop it down to the next line, and I'm gonna start typing the next one. Every time I want to drop to the next line, you just hit enter. Okay, so there's my kind of title here that I'm putting on this one, and I have it there. Okay, now color, I forgot to mention, to change your color, the color for your font box is right up here up top. You'll need to select it, so all you're going to do is click at the end and drag all of your text. If you only want to change, say I wanted to have different colors each line, I could do that by just clicking on just that line. Okay, so you can definitely kind of change things up that way. And then you're going to just click it. If you want all of it colored, and you would do that and then choose the color that you want it to be. Okay, now another option that you have here with your text is, if you select it, right next to that is your color box. Oops, I skipped this one. Here's your alignment. So right now mine is center align, which is kind of useful when you're working with a title. It's good to be center lined in the center. You also have left alignment, which would put it like towards the left, and then you have right alignment, which is, oops, see what happens if you don't select it all. That moves it towards the right, where everything happens on the right. Okay, so those are kind of the different options that you have as far as with spacing and how the letters appear. And then right next to the color box is your warp text. So if I wanted to make my text do different shapes, I can do that here. So if I click on this T on a hill, this box pops up. And if it's covering up your words, just drag it to the right. And I'm going to click where it says style, and you have different options in here, and each one does a different thing. So arc would arc it. Yeah, I mean, they all do kind of different things. All right. So you choose one that you want. And the cool thing about it is that you're not limited to what they give you. You can resize it by clicking on it here. And you can change that up. I can even change it here. The horizontal bend basically just kind of changes it that way. And then the vertical bend goes kind of up and down. Okay. All right. So then if you want to do that and you like it, you just hit OK, and that kind of keeps it there. All right. Now, another thing I can do, if I hit this folder here right next to that warp text, it pulls up some other options. Now these bring back some of those same styles, so I could do italicized from here. I could do all caps. I could do small caps. I could do superscript. So like for this TH here, if I do that, that'll put it up top, kind of like the way it's supposed to be. So I have different options that I could do here. I could even, if I don't like the spacing between my two lines, although this one is fine, that's this section here, and so I could always space them out if I need to space them out more, or bring them in closer together if I want them closer together. And you can also change the size of your font here too. That's your size. Okay. So those are some different things that you can kind of do within your text menu up here. And you always want to hit the check up here like I just did when you're finished with it. Okay. So one other thing I do want to show you about text is the effects that you can do on text. And that's kind of like what you do on Word and different things like that. So down here at the bottom is an effects where it says FX of your layer box. You want to make sure you're on your text layer, and you're going to click on effects, and then you're going to choose blending options. Blending options just kind of brings up the whole box here. Okay, and I'll show you what kind of each of them do. You want to make sure you click on the name for it rather than just the box, the checkbox here, because when you click on the name for it, it pulls up the menu for it here, and this allows you to control the amount of the effect that you see. So this bevel and emboss, as you see, kind of added some contours and shading and shadows on it to kind of make it look more of an embossed type look. And you can increase like how far that is and stuff like that here. You can soften it. So those are different things that you can do within the menu. Another thing you can do is a stroke. So a stroke is basically an outline of it, and that is customizable as well. Like I said, when you click on the word, you can change the color of the stroke. So if I want it to be white or blue or whatever, I can change that color, and then I can also change the thickness of it as well, to really big or to really thin. Okay, so those are some of the options that you have kind of here. Okay, then you have inner shadow, which basically puts a shadow on the inside of the letters. You have inner glow, which puts like a glow on the inside. Satin is kind of like almost like a darkening of the inside of it. Color overlay is not really good for text. Basically, it replaces your color with a different color. You have gradient overlay, which depending on what you're doing, you might want to do, just like we do a background overlay, you can do this with your text. So it can have, you can do, add a gradient color to your text. So if I wanted to, I could do that as well. And all I'm doing is basically working over here in the menu and changing the options up over here. So you can change kind of the way it appears, how it shows up, and so forth. You can even, the scale here controls, hold on, I don't like that one. Let me do this one. controls how much of it you actually see. Okay, then you have pattern overlay, which will add these weird kind of patterns in there. You have outer glow, which will put, I don't know if you can see it, but if you see that kind of glow coming out, you can add a glow to the background. Or you could do a drop shadow, which is something that's pretty popular, but you can add in a shadow. And again, you can customize kind of like how the shadow works as well. Okay, and that basically just makes your text look a little bit more three-dimensional as instead of flat. Okay, and you just hit OK like I just did, and that's pretty much how you work with text. Now, if you want to move it, again, you can use your move tool to move it. You can actually even use your move tool as long as you have the show transform controls on to resize it. So if I wanted it smaller, oops, at this point, I could drag it in to make it smaller or bigger. Okay, and that is how you work with text in Photoshop.